So friends, you must be aware of Language Wars 21st Century Edition that is playing out right in front of us.
आणि मराठी शिकले बाबा हे दादा
जो मराठी का आदर नहीं करेगा वो पीड़ित.
India ranks 4th in the world when it comes to sheer number of living languages. But this subcontinent has been a melting pot of tongues since forever. So here's a thought. If you're fighting language wars today, what did it look like centuries ago? In this video, I put together stories from India's long history, moments when languages clashed, collided, and sometimes even created something new. So without further ado, let me take you on a journey into the language stories of Hindustan History Edition. Exhibit 1. The year is 1175. On one side, we have the Ghurid ruler Ghiyaduddin Muhammad. On the other, an unnamed Sanskrit scholar. Let's just call him Pandit Raghavendra Shastri.
ऊंट ऊंचा, ऊंट की पीठ ऊंची, पूंछ ऊंची ऊंट की.
So what's going on here? When Persian entered Hindustan as the new language of power, you might think Sanskrit scholars would dislike the foreign religion or the new clothes or maybe even the new customs. But no, the sharpest criticism was about something very specific, the lack of retroflex sounds in Persian. Retroflex sounds are things like ta and da, where you roll your tongue back and touch the roof of your mouth. These sounds are a profound signature of Indian languages and pretty rare outside South Asia. To these Sanskrit scholars, Persian without retroflexes wasn't just incomplete. It sounded, in their own words, like the hooting of owls. Exhibit 2. From the Delhi of the 12th century, let's fast forward to 17th century Bengal. Meet Biplab Chattopadhyay and say hello to his not-so-friendly companion, the serpent Ruru. But why is poor Biplab in this mess? Well, according to a 17th century text, anyone who dared to listen to the Puranas in Bengali was destined for Rorva hell, where flesh-eating serpents like Ruru would be waiting. Yes, you heard that right. Reading scriptures in your mother tongue could literally get you condemned to serpent-infested hell. Exhibit 3. The year is 1574. Here we see Goswami Tulsidas, the legendary author of Ramcharitmanas, sitting inside a mosque. But before we explain why, let's first hear in his own words.
मैं हूँ तुलसीदास, मांग के खैबो हर, मस्जिद में सोइबो हर, लेवे को एक न देवे को दूं.
These lines come from Tulsidas's Kavitavali. When the Pandits of Ayodhya discovered that someone had dared to write the Ramayana in a vernacular language like Avdi, they were outraged. But Tulsidas was firm. He wanted to speak to the masses in their own tongue. He declared that he was ready to sever ties, face social outcasting, and even sleep in a mosque if that's what it took to write for the common people. And this wasn't an isolated case of that time. In Maharashtra, the Pandits of Sant Tukaram's village forced him to drown the manuscript of his Avangs in the river, simply because they were written in Marathi. But now let's come to the other major religious community of the subcontinent, Muslims. Instead of looking at language chauvinism of Hindus and saying,
देखा आपने लापरवाही का नतीजा है.
they said, why should Hindus have all the fun? Here we are in Dhaka of 1948 with none other than Muhammad Ali Jinnah.
Let me make it very clear to you, leave no doubt that the state language of Pakistan is going to be Urdu and no other language.
Now Jinnah might just be the goat politician. You know why? Because when he declared Urdu as the national language for East Pakistanis or Bengalis, he didn't even use Urdu. He made the announcement in English. According to one account of the rally, the Bengali crowd clapped politely at first, not even realizing what had just been said. But within half an hour, when the message sank in, those cheers turned into full-blown riots for their beloved Bangla. And that moment revealed something crucial. The Pakistan movement wasn't only about religion, it was also very deeply about Urdu. And here's the irony. In the early 19th century, when Shah Abdul Qadir published the very first Urdu translation of the Quran, the ulema of the time issued a fatwa of sacrilege against him. In other words, what was seen as religiously unacceptable in one century became the sacred, defining language of Muslim identity by 1947. And funnily enough, this wasn't the first time such controversy arose. Back in Mughal Bengal, when someone attempted a Quran translation into Bengali, outrage followed. But the Bengali poet Abdul Hakim, writing in 1660, hit back with these fiery words. That's where we'll wrap up this video. A big thank you to all the channel members for supporting my content and me. I actually had a bunch of other fascinating language stories that couldn't fit in here, like what happened when the greatest Hindu Urdu novelist Munshi Premchand crossed paths with a Sanskrit-speaking Malayali, or what some Goras did to the man who dared to translate the Bible into English for the first time. If stories like this excite you, let me know in the comment section if you'd like to see a part 2 of Language Stories of Hindustan History Edition.